Montgomery, Alabama, where the demons of Dixie still stand on the state capitol lawn. And now the heavy weight of history hangs nearby. The lynching memorial is haunting, a dark truth one man believed America should see.
And I couldn't have imagined creating something that maybe will engage people in this conversation about truth and justice, and yet here we are.
I walked with attorney Brian Stevenson through this Copper Canyon, a sobering space dedicated to the 4,400 black men, women, and children lynched in America between 1877 and 1950.
What do you want people to feel, sense when they walk through this part of the...
You know, I think it's the sense that this violence was lifted up over people. People don't know what it was like to live in a space where you were surrounded by such torture and terror and violence, and nobody did anything.
Stevenson views America's dark past as directly connected to what he sees as her troubled present.
We have the highest rate of incarceration in the world because we've allowed ourselves to be governed by fear and anger. It was that same politics of fear and anger that allowed us to engage in a native genocide and slavery and lynching and segregation.
He has dedicated his life to fighting for justice, getting 135 people off death row. Critics say the death penalty is biased and flawed. Data suggests that for every 9 people executed, 1 has been exonerated. Stevenson's life work has been memorialized in a new film based on his best-selling memoir, Just Mercy.
We all need grace. We all need mercy.
I hope from watching the movie and thinking more critically, people will kind of see this issue the way I see it. I don't think the threshold question of the death penalty is, do people deserve to die for the crimes they've committed? I think the threshold question is, do we deserve to kill?
The film comes at a relevant time. The Department of Justice recently announced it will resume death penalty executions at the federal level after nearly 2 decades. Actor Michael B. Jordan portrays Stevenson in the film.
You the lawyer?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Brian Stevenson.
And Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx plays one of Stevenson's first death row clients, Walter McMillan.
And none of that matter when all y'all think is I look like a man who could kill somebody.
But that's not what I think.
What inspired each of you to want to take this particular project on?
Nobody's perfect, but he's close. He's really, really much better person than I am. You know? And he's really beating the drum for justice nonstop. He's dedicated his life to it.
Walter McMillan, the character that you play.
Most important movie I've ever done.
Really?
You know why?
The most important?
Yes, it is.
They need to remind you of your resume or the work you've done?
When we're talking about importance, I'm talking about the importance of the message. And when you go on your social media and you're able to see a young black man being killed by a police officer, because it allows us to address those types of symptoms in an artistic way. Here's Walter McMillan, in a sense, a person wrongly convicted of a crime that a city he never been in, person he never met, and all of a sudden he sits on death row.
Before his trial.
Before his trial. The worst thing you can give a death row inmate is hope. And all of a sudden, hope walks in the form of Brian Stevenson. You rich boy from Harvard, you don't know what it is down here when you're guilty from the moment you're born.
So when you say guilty from the moment you're born.
Yeah, because I grew up in Texas. I was 8 years old and I got called by a grown man. How is me being born, how can I receive all of this hate?
When Jamie plays Walter, I think he exposes the agony of being wrongly convicted and the trauma.
But what do you think about Michael B. Jordan playing you on this film?
Well, I'm really honored to have Michael be in this film. He was terrific. When the only thing I asked him not to do was I asked him not to go on some lawyer diet. I said, you can keep the Creed Black Panther body when you play me. I don't have any objections to that.
Your job isn't to defend a conviction, Tommy. It's to achieve justice. And as long as you keep fighting this, someone from your county has literally gotten away with murder.
Stevenson and his organization, the Equal Justice Initiative, have dedicated themselves to changing the criminal justice system and people's lives. One of those lives changed, Anthony Ray Hinton.
You can say that you got an innocent man off death row.
We first met Hinton almost 5 years ago. just days after he was released from Alabama's death row, where he had spent 30 straight years for 2 murders he did not commit.
Would you believe this is the first time I've been in the rain in 30 years?
How do you like it?
It feels wonderful. Yes, it feels wonderful.
But now, thanks to Stevenson, what's left of his life is all his.
What's freedom taste like to a grown man?
Freedom tastes good. It is delicious. There's nothing in this world that's more important than freedom. And when you lose your freedom, you lose everything.
He has his freedom, a full-time job at Stevenson's Equal Justice Initiative as a community educator, and he's written his own New York Times best-selling book, The Sun Does Shine. Yet for all of his successes, his infectious smile, what the criminal justice system took from Anthony Ray Hinton, time nor treasures can restore.
No one sees when I'm at home by myself the tears. No one sees the scars that is perhaps there forever.
You still cry?
Oh, yes.
Why?
Well, I live in a fear. I fear that any night the police could kick the door down and say I did something.
Really? Still?
Oh, absolutely. If they did it once, they could do it again.
When was the last time you cried?
Oh, this morning.
I believe that if people saw what I see on a regular basis, if they saw children being condemned to die in prison, if they saw mentally ill people being abused, they would want change. But our system is so insulated, they don't see it.
So for all the darkness that you see, you're an optimistic man.
I think hopefulness is a requirement to do what I do.
But if they take me to that chair tonight, I'm going out smiling. Because I got my truth back.
Thanks to Brian Stevenson, Walter McMillan won his freedom in 1993. He died in 2013. For Jordan, one of the film's producers, this was an opportunity to showcase diversity both on and off screen.
You push for an inclusion writer, which is a new phenomenon in Hollywood.
So an inclusion writer pretty much enforces that a person from underrepresented groups are being heavily considered for, a major role behind the camera. Black and brown communities, minorities, women from the LGBTQ community, disabled community. It gives people the opportunity.
What do you want audiences to take from this movie?
Oh man, I want them to open themselves up. What was great about the movie is that it makes it a human story.
I feel like I just want people to be hopeful. I think Brian Stevenson is the most hopeful, optimistic person there is.
I can't believe you talked to all my people and say you're gonna fight for me.
I did.
I think if we can create a consciousness that bias and bigotry is fundamentally unacceptable in this country, we'll think differently. It won't take 6 years to get Walter McMillan off of death row. It won't take 30 years to get Anthony Ray Hinton off of death row.
As Brian Stevenson knows, justice deferred beats justice denied. But it's a hard-fought hope that assures him America someday will do better.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.